Hello there, everyone. Welcome back to some more Let's Play The Consuming Shadow. Just wouldn't be the Halloween season, wouldn't be the months of September or October if we didn't play The Consuming Shadow for my channel. We've made a ritual of this, viewer. Pun intended. For the past 5 years now. And man, this game is one of the few that managed to get the atmosphere dead on perfect for an invading elder god of a Lovecraftian type. And, well, we're going to play through it again. You guys know the drill by now. We make 2 attempts using the Scholar for both attempts because I really like the Scholar character. So, I've already checked my voice and I believe it's coming out fine. Let's go ahead and see how rusty I am. I really like this character the most because there's a good amount of build-up until the end of the game. If you do really well, you can get to the end before the 3rd day begins, which is when most of the extremely difficult creatures begin showing up. There's still difficult creatures in the game, even the weak things can really knock your teeth in. But I love the build-up for this, and you feel like you're running out of time very quickly, even though you have 60 hours. He starts with nothing else other than a gun and his car, obviously. Let's get going. A shadow is trying to enter our world. One of the ancients. The runes confirm it. I don't know which one. All I know is that they arrive at Stonehenge 3 days from now. For some reason, I cannot shake a sensation of déjà vu. I have memories of assembling a ritual, fleeing through darkened hallways, and firing a gun at something unimaginable. I feel like some distant part of me may have died this way. Hundreds of times. Perhaps thousands. Let's get started. Alright, I've played this game enough that I get 7 birth stars to start us out with. What do we have today? Plus sanity and random spell chance. That seems nice if we're going to play like a spell casting type of character. Can we get a 2% increased chance? And can we earn 15 sanity? We can. Oh, I'm going to be really greedy. Can we get 16 sanity and 2 spell chance? We cannot. Okay, let's grab 1 point there. Nothing stops you, by the way, from selecting that same spot multiple times, but I like putting some space between it, just because I feel like it's a little too strong if I was to keep hitting that same spot over and over again. Ooh, we can get health up with the crab, I think. The bull gives us melee damage, and the priest gives us research. We should absolutely take a little bit of all 3, so let's see. So we'll grab +1 research. Oh, this is good. Bam, right there. 1 research extra. I don't even know what that means. 30% more melee damage and 15 health. Let's see. And over here we just have the thief. Okay, can we get 15% chance there? Alright, we have 4 birth stars remaining. There are no other constellations in the sky. Let's grab another melee damage upgrade. And health. That's probably pretty good. 20 and 20 with plus another 0.4 research. We'll grab more sanity. I think I would like just 20 sanity or so. Actually, we can get even more sanity if we go down closer to the magician. Let's grab that. We'll take another thief. Feel a little guilty choosing the exact same spot, so we won't do that. We'll take a 12% chance here. And 1 more star. You know, I would like to have a massive chance to lockpicks, so we'll grab another 12% over here too. That's actually not that big of a chance. Plus 40% effectively will give us a 55% chance to lockpick, so more or less a flip of a coin. Alright, let's do it. You have received a text from the Ministry of Occultism. You can find the information you need in towns tainted by the shadow. If you want my advice, Start from Hobley and work it out from there. Okay, everyone, just in case you've forgotten how this game works, here's the date and time. We have 60 hours to get through the game. Basically, a 2.5 days, or it's over for us. Here's our life. That reaches 0, we die. Here's our sanity. That reaches 0, I think we also die. Life is restored through med packs. Sanity is restored by chanting the correct rune at runes. There's a chance to recover some sanity by accepting text messages and having it be RNG related, because it could also drain your sanity, but you might gain some. And if we lose a lot of sanity, you can use these drugs to prevent yourself from losing more sanity. Or rather, it temporarily gives you your max and slowly drains over time. Drugs are a last resort option. You don't want to use them until you're almost out of sanity, and then you better be able to beat the game before you run out of that drug. Here's our stuff. We start with 1 drug, in fact. We have some bullets, I believe. Yep, some standard rounds. This is special stuff. We have no special stuff in our inventory. We have no special stuff equipped. You're allowed to have 3 special things equipped at one time. We start with no spells. We know there's 4 pieces to the banishment ritual. And we start with a full med pack. Our notes are used to keep track of what god is invading, which god is the invading god's ally, and which god is the invading god's enemy from the gods which are present in this universe. And we get started. Green cities are cities which are not yet consumed by the shadow. Red are consumed by the shadow. Black are unknown. We are starting with 15 cash. I will go to Finsworth to... Oh. Yeah. Let's go to Finsworth to start. Then we'll go to Sorrow. My plan is to go here to see if there's anything for sale. The atmosphere is tense here, as news has spread of the darkness infecting the neighboring towns. Besides that, I cannot sense the shadow's influence for now. I have lost a precious hour, but I finally found a blacksmith market dealer willing to take my money. We can fire faster with the shoulder stock. Well, I think we'll take it. And we'll even equip it. You've received a text from the Ministry of Occultism. Let's check it out. I have some intel that urgently needs to get to Waterton within 10 hours. You don't have to help out, but these things escalate quickly. Okay, we'll go to Sorrow next then, and then to Waterton. Such a great atmospheric game. We received a text from Ministry of Occultism. We've already got one telling us where to go to start, which we get as a scholar. We received one telling us about a spot that they want us to go to. This one is likely either something that can help us by giving us money, or like sanity restore, or hurts us. We'll open a few of these to show you what they are like in case you haven't seen this game before. Special ammo is more expensive, but worth it. Hollow points do more damage, while armor-piercing shots damage multiple targets. How about that? You know, I never knew what the difference was between them. I just assumed armor-piercing did more damage to some enemies, and hollow points did more damage to others. Now I know that if we're fighting multiple creatures, we want the armor-piercing rounds equipped. That's super handy. Been playing this game for probably close to 100 or 200 hours, and I did not realize that. The atmosphere is tense here, as news has spread of the darkness infecting neighboring towns. Besides that, I cannot sense the shadow's influence. For now. We already spent our money on supplies. We'd have $1 left, so we're not going to be buying anything there. As I stop briefly at a junction, a harassed-looking young man in rumpled clothing runs to my window and pleads for a ride between labored breaths. He says that there are dark forces at work in one of the safe towns, and it is vitally important he get there. His hand is nervously rattling at my passenger side door handle, which I have shrewdly been keeping locked. Let's let him in. I don't think I've ever done that before. The man almost collapses with gratitude into my passenger seat and asks me to head for Sumton, stressing the absolute importance that we get there in time. Oh, you are kidding me. Well, we head to Waterton, Holby, Elmsport, Sumton, and maybe we get there in time, but I want to do this delivery. The message is received by a flustered man dressed not dissimilarly to myself. He's agitated enough that I am forced to awkwardly remind him of the agreed payment before he can run off, whereupon he throws a handful of notes at me and disappears into the shadows. The atmosphere is tense here as news has spread of the darkness infecting neighboring towns. Besides that, I cannot sense the shadow's influence, for now. Normally I'd visit the shop there, but we don't have time if I want to get to Sumton, especially because we're stopping by Holby on the way. Our car is not the fastest either. It will take about an hour to go 30 miles. You received a text from a family member. Here's 4 from our account. I don't want to know what you do with it. Just use it to stay alive. For us. Please. I'm immediately suspicious of the geniality of the people of this town display. They smile, but rarely blink, and invite me to some private meeting place within minutes of conversation. When pressed, the apparently unaffected people mutter disquieting stories of friends and loved ones returning from meetings with changed personalities. The smiling ones all wear gloves and baggy clothing buttoned to the neck, as if their flesh must remain hidden. I am convinced that dark power operates beneath the surface, infecting bodies and minds wherever its oily tendrils settle. The first people to exhibit strange behavior I had discovered were dock workers. The first known case is estimated to be a man who worked at one of the warehouses on the industrial riverfront. It did not take long to establish that something is wrong there. Workers go in that do not come out, and the nearby river is thick with the well-gnawed corpses of fish. Something is living there that should not be. Alright, everyone. You walk back and forth. Oh, there's a big creature here. This is a tough one to start with. You can pistol whip by right-clicking. You shoot with the left button. The left mouse button. The map is in the lower left-hand corner. Where we are is green. Locked doors are red. Passages that are not locked are white. When you hear that sound, your character has detected something he can interact with. I found a set of keys. These should make exploration easier. Every area has a set of keys that will automatically unlock, I believe, all the doors within this map. You can skip getting the keys and use your lockpicks. You start with 3. By default, there's a 15% chance that they work on a door. Not a good chance. If you attempt the door a second or third time, or fourth or fifth time, etc., it goes up 5% each consecutive time you try that door. But once you leave that room, if you give up, it's back to 15%, I believe. We want to thoroughly search every area we can. In a pile of useless metal implements, I found a small tool that could function as a lockpick. You will find bullets, money, sometimes you can even recover health, and most importantly, hints as to what is going on and which god might be invading. Most of the engraving was too weathered to read the full banishment mantra, but the last symbol was almost certainly the symbol U. Nothing left for me here. I can escape now by the same way I came in. Note that I'm not allowed to flee the dungeon automatically. This means there is a hunter that has spawned. It is a difficult creature, which can do significant damage to us if it finds us. But we also have the key, and I would like to thoroughly search this location. 2 standard 9mm rounds for some of what we fired. We're leaving. One place unexplored. The townsfolk are not immediately better off with the extermination of the creature behind their enslavement. There have been several murders and suicides already as the memories of their actions return. The best thing I can do for them now is leave them to heal. I want to talk a little bit more about the creatures in this game. If I had a complaint about this game, I have 2 in particular. And I'm going to mention it not because I hate the game, not because but because, darn it, I wish this wasn't the case. Often, actually, whenever you leave an area and there was a creature behind, the game will cause you to lose some slight amount of sanity. This is super awkward because sometimes the creatures will spawn directly on top of you, or just as you're about to leave. In silhouette, a figure by the side of the road seemed to take on several monstrous qualities, until it was illuminated by my headlights, and I could see that it was an old man, hunched over and clad in trailing rags flagging me down. He leans close to the car, and I get a complete view of his craggy face, his mad, staring eyes, and the crust gathering at his mouth and nostrils. With a gap-toothed grin, the bony hand gesture he seems to want... With a gap-toothed grin and a bony hand gesture, he seems to want me to open my window. Nope. We have a passenger already. In fact, we're not even stopping by Almsport, which is in fact infected. We can come back here. We can't afford to wait. Different environments yield different rewards. Office buildings have a lot of documents and very little loot. Warehouses have it the other way around. Something else I didn't realize. I'll ignore this. Actually, no, we should open all of them. I've got reports of a sleeper cell in Sorrow. These clean up sooner rather than later. Don't expect a warm welcome there if you let this slide. My passenger is visibly comforted by the sight of the town, and asks to be let off at a corner in a seemingly mundane suburb. He graciously insists on pressing 30 pounds into my hand before we part ways. The town is calm and peaceful, oblivious to the shadow. My heart feels pained and heavy as I am confronted by what we stand to lose if I fail my mission. Well, while we're here, let's look for supplies. I've lost another precious hour. I finally found a black market dealer willing to take my money. Broken limbs are awful. You cannot run with, or if you run, you take damage. So we want the set of skateboarder pads, absolutely. And I'll even buy some bullets. That's good enough. We're not going back to Sorrow. That's, I think, too far away. But we will go back to Almsport, since it was held by the Shadow. I have happened upon a small country church where a number of locals have taken shelter. From the indistinct words drifting out from the entrance doors, it sounds like some kind of sermon is taking place. I am finding the prospect of peaceful human contact extremely enticing. No. You received a text from a family member. This one I will also ignore. My hair stands on end, and I feel a scratching at the back of my mind. This can only mean one thing. Magic. There is a great concentration of it that hasn't had time to disperse. This town must be home to a rift. One of the tears in the fabric of our universe, through which bleeds the dark influence of realms beyond. If I can find it, then I can use the same magic it spews to seal it closed. Casting magic has its difficulties, but tracing it is straightforward enough. It's just a matter of finding enough slivers, traces, and reported monster sightings to track back to their point of origin. One brief touch of a particularly active ley line indicates a fairly newly built community, college, on the border where the commercial district meets the suburbs. Another case of students messing with powers they don't understand. I seal myself to enter. Rooms that have items in them that you did not find or search will be marked yellow on your map. We found the keys already. The resort was closed down after complaints from visitors that the world-famous anti-anxiety treatment, consisting chiefly of chanting the words Batayu, was causing headaches and strange nightmares. That sound is played whenever you find a dead body. Another victim of the Shadow. They lie curled up, still clutching at themselves as if something was eating away at them from the inside. That's a hint as to one of the gods that is here, but I don't remember that hint. The portal. We can close it by chanting spells. You hit tab to bring up your spells, and the moment you begin interacting by selecting these numbers, you have a limited amount of time to finish the spell. But until then, you have as much time as you wish to prepare for it. Most spells are 2 runes in length. Some are 3. The ritual is 4. It is usually safest to close a portal from a distance. Most of the engraving was too weathered to read the full banishment mantra, but the second symbol was almost certainly the syllable Ang. There's nothing of importance left to do in this place. The longer I stay, the more time I lose. Oh! I'm sorry, we could have clicked escape dungeon last time. This time we can't. So this time, there's something hunting us. I recognize what that creature is as well. Anxiety seems to be getting the better of me. I feel hot and nauseous and my hands won't stop shaking. Hopefully it will pass. In the language of the ancients, the syllable betai is usually given as a name, but it also has variously been written to denote the concepts of fear, paranoia, and anxiety. Our first clue. I would love to go south, but we need to get out of here. The town is not immediately improved any more than a flood zone would be simply because the rain has stopped. But my contribution is made. Time to move on. Okay, everyone. Let's take a look at that clue. Anxiety. By the way, there are several status effects that you can be afflicted with during the game. They all have different things that they prevent you from doing and hurt you in certain ways. Anxiety makes your hands shake a lot. And as someone who now suffers from anxiety when I didn't used to several, like 5 years ago, it can do that to you. So it will automatically go away after a certain set amount of time has passed. But there is an item you can have which prevents you from actually having this effect, well, affect you. We'll heal. And look at our notes. The rune BTI is also associated with the concept of fear. So we know that there's a BTI rune, and that fear is associated with it. But that's all we know at the moment. There was a red color, by the way, for that portal, which may or may not be related to the creature. "5 hours? That's not enough time to reach Sorrow. It's going to take us 3 to get here, and then probably 3 to reach Sorrow from Kid Hope. So we're pushing on. Let's go to Twinley and see what happens here. At first, I was ready to declare this town to be unblemished, but troubling signs have begun to emerge. In response to my questioning, a few residents have seemed ready to give an urgent account, only to think better of it or be shushed into silence by another. The air is thick with unaired secrets and unconfirmed suspicions, manifesting as whispers, graffiti, and anonymous texts. There is an evil here. I know it. One so loathsome that it will freeze even the busiest tongues. I received a text seeking to arrange a meeting, but when I called back, the woman who answered knew nothing about it. She said it was her husband's phone, and she was worried as he had not come home from work. She revealed that he worked as a forklift operator at a large storage facility not far up the motorway. I pledged to investigate immediately. Our anxiety has left us, which is good. A purple rune. The Shim rune has been inscribed on the wall here in purple. It could be either a marking of territory or a gesture of thanks or recognition to another god. It's dangerous to do something like this, since we don't know for a fact purple is well, no, but I think purple is associated with Shim. I think that's a fair thing to select. There's a chance, very small, I think it's less than 50%, so maybe not very small, that we might recover sanity when we cast this rune here. Cast a spell using only one rune. As I invoked the rune, I felt a wave of answering energy from the wall. There was a wave of recognition I found strangely reassuring. We gained 1 sanity. There's nothing here, Tim. You should leave immediately. I found an ancient 9mm pistol with 2 usable bullets in the clip, except for what we just did. There was some kind of survivalist cache here containing 3 hollow point bullets. Nice. A locked door. We don't have the keys for that yet. I found a very old 9mm ammunition box with 3 bullets remaining. There's something in this room. Cultists. I never realized how cultists worked until I had looked it up online. They will cast a spell that consists of, I believe, 2 runes. You can counter their spell if you match the runes they are using, which will dispel their shield and let you kill them easily. We found the keys. 3 armor-piercing bullets. Nice. Apparently they were manufacturing ammunition at this factory. I recovered some dusty jewelry that I estimate to be worth £5. I think that's the person. I will come back for them. My only concern is that there is a hunter here. And I do not want to I don't want to leave any of these locations unsearched. I've discovered a very old 9mm ammunition box with 3 bullets remaining. That's it. My goodness. We've spent 1/3 of the game so far. And we've only found 1 clue. Although we do have 2 pieces of the banishment ritual. I found what remains of the person I was sent to find. There's nothing I can do to help them, except get out of here and break the bad news. There's nothing of importance left in this place. Oh, interesting. So we can automatically flee, but it takes an hour to do so. That guy must be following what he's seen happen in other horror games where he has bullets on him but doesn't have a gun. Sorry. The news of the death did not, it seems, come entirely unexpected to the poor soul waiting for my return. But they seemed to appreciate my efforts. As I made my excuses, they pressed a wallet into my hands, explaining that it had been left behind by a previous visiting occult investigator. My recording device picked up the chanting of some kind of mantra intended to ward off evil. It was hard to make out, but the third part definitely sounded like Batai. By the way, what spell did we get? Strange Calm. I don't know if I've ever actually cast that spell. I'm guessing it actually purges anxiety if you possess it. There's no spell that you can use to make you recover sanity, unfortunately. It's not that type of game. We have all the pieces of the banishment ritual except the first one, and I know the first one will be the creature's rune. So we have a lot of work to do to figure out what that could be. Let's go to Stone's Burrow next. 1/3 of our time is gone. The creatures will now get tougher. You can cast low-level spells in the field to get an upper hand, but be warned that it will make your mind an open door for the shadow. Sorrow has fallen to the shadow. You wouldn't happen to know anything about that, would you? The people of this town have been welcoming, perhaps too much so. They smile but rarely blink, and invite me to some private meeting place within minutes of conversation. When pressed, the apparently unaffected people mutter disquieting stories of friends and loved ones returning from meetings with changed personalities. I hear disquieting tales of physical transformations concealed beneath clothing and cosmetics. I am convinced that a dark power operates beneath the surface, infecting bodies and minds wherever its oily tendrils settle. One of the untainted townspeople has revealed to me that the possessed ones are constantly drifting off to meet at a run-down former community center off the beaten track, often dressed in their finest former gear. My informant's helpfulness dries up quickly when I suggest he join me to investigate. The reaction was telling, despite being entirely expected. Bullets. We found the key ring. I generally will leave when I can, immediately when I can for a room, and then check to see if it turns yellow if I did so, as that's a hint that there is something in there, as I tend to worry about creatures, especially at this point in the game, where they're going to begin getting tougher. A lockpick. Tranquilizers. This should stop anxiety. Useful since it sounds like we have a god of anxiety or fear here. I do see the locked door. I want to kind of wait on that. Two standard rounds. I hear a rune. The BTI rune has been inscribed in the wall here in purple. So there is a god with the red rune. We don't know what it is yet. Shim and BTI, one of these must be the invader, the other must be its ally, is my guess. We did not recover sanity that time. Let's go after the creature. In case of a 4-rune incantation, the first rune denotes the recipient of the spell in the banishment ritual. For example, it would be the rune of the creature being banished. We can just walk... Oh, okay, well that's a shame. We lost some sanity there. We can just walk out But I'd rather see what else is here, if we're not being hunted especially. 3 more bullets, we didn't need those. Three more bullets, which we also don't need. With their leader dead, it is only its minions throughout the town remain. Fortunately, the remaining townsfolk seem to have the matter in hand. I can leave them to rebuilding their lives. We know everything about the banishment ritual, including a part I already knew about, which is a bit awkward. Let's go to Foring, Castle Hill, Dienal, and we'll end, I think, this episode around here somewhere, since we'll be halfway done with this attempt. You received a text from the Ministry of Occultism. The Shadow has a definite foothold in Finsworth, and it's going to make its move soon. If you have time to sort this out, you won't go unrewarded. I'm not making it up to Finsworth. That's 7 hours away. That's 3. That's like 4. We simply can't make it there. No, it has to stay unsaved. As I stop briefly at a junction, a harassed-looking young man in rumpled clothing runs to my window and pleads for a ride between labored breaths. He says there are dark forces at work in one of the safe towns, and it's vitally important he get there. His hand is nervously rattling at my passenger side door handle, which I've surely been keeping locked. We'll just drive on this time. We already took a passenger earlier. This town bears all the hallmarks of being under the shadow. The few people I see walk in a quick, startled pace, often bearing an eerie paleness and hostile eyes. In the dark doorways of abandoned buildings, I hear faint sounds that chill me to the bone. It would be tempting to completely write it off, but with a little investigation, I have found that at least one resident offered resistance. Runic symbols associated with ideas like protection and warding have been messily daubed onto walls in a way that seems to mark a path. Somebody saw this coming. But who? Following the trail of protective wards, I have located what I believe to be the home of the artist. The entrance was absolutely plastered in seals, daubed in a mixture of bodily fluids. The place was deserted, and everything useful has been taken. I pray that the owner has merely found a safer home. Scraps of discarded journal indicate the source of the wards, an old book in the arcane languages, which was hurriedly stored in a creaking private residence in the rich suburbs. Perhaps I could recover it before someone, or something, does first. This poor devil used his last moments to paint a message on the floor with his own blood. Open only the box bearing the symbol of Yushig. We have no clue what any of the god symbols are. So this is going to be an interesting investigation. In the language of the ancients, the syllable shim is usually given as a name, but has also variously been written to denote the concept of insanity, irrationality, and confusion. Shim is a concept of madness, pain, madness. It's the color I'm not sure of as to which one of these is purple. This will be really handy if we can pick up a lot of clues here. We certainly need them. Orange, orange. All around me, orange inside my head and scratching at the walls. I can't face the orange anymore. Open up my veins to let the orange out. We're all in now. Orange. I don't know if that's the correct box, though. As it goes by, they cast the spells faster, but the game still pauses when you bring up your spell menu. £2. There's a corpse here. Their hands are ruined, fingers either broken or missing, as if they were clawing madly at something. We should check everywhere for more clues. Although I get the feeling we're just about to run out of them. £5. The keys will be in this hallway, I think. Oh, possibly not. While not their signature color, the god Baryla is also shown have an affinity for the color orange, which is associated with an allied identity in the ancient pantheon. Baryla is allied with the god associated with the color orange. A set of keys. The good news about these few hints we've discovered, I'm pretty sure has told us, especially what we've seen earlier, that because these runes were in purple earlier, and these runes weren't inverted, that would normally be meant as an insult. That we probably know everything about Baryla, except if it's the invader or not. Being an ally of a god does not necessarily fulfill this agenda. It just means that there is an ally. We need a little more information. There's a corpse here. Their body is torn to ribbons. But while my forensic skills are rusty, I'd swear the wounds were self-inflicted. Interesting rune. That's Ang. We haven't seen that rune yet. We'll have to come back for it. We know it's not this one. I think, right? I see you there, cultist, just in the shadow. That's KZ, which is definitely not one of the runes for the gods we are aware of. I'm glad there's just cultists here. Cultists are not difficult. Isn't that Shem? Let's try it. This place is filled with cultists who are orange in color. This might not be Yushug's symbol, though. But if it's not, that will be useful to know, because we'll know this god is Yushig. Nyx is not the god attempting to invade. I know you're reading this, scholar. Your actions will have far further reaching consequences than you could possibly imagine. That was the correct answer. And I'm pretty sure we've pieced this together correctly. Is that right? So Yushig is the orange god associated with Shem, madness. We just don't know which of these is the invader. If I was forced to guess, I would choose Shem, but I don't know that for a fact. We are not allowed to escape. Losing a lot of sanity getting back to the car. The town is lost to the shadow, and nothing I could have done can change that. But perhaps with what I have recovered here, this will finally be the last. Alright, everyone. One more place. Let's go to Castle Hill. The atmosphere is tense here, as news has spread into the darkness, infecting neighboring towns. Besides that, I cannot sense the shadow's influence. For now. I have lost another precious hour, but I finally found a black market dealer willing to take my money. I'll purchase 2 hollow points and another armor piercing. You received a text from an unknown number. You're dreaming. Repeated over and over again. Sanity loss. Set destination. Let's actually go to Gormouth. Is that right? Gormouth? It's an awful name. And then we'll be good to go. Then we will end it. The sight of blue and red flashing lights in my rear view mirror startled me out of a light doze. A police car is signaling me to pull over. This could end poorly, and we could lose several hours if they knock me out, if they are members of the Shadow. But I always pull over. The police car pulled in behind me, and a single officer got out. I watched him in the rearview mirror as he sauntered to the driver's side window, then stared innocently into the middle distance as he leaped down and requested to see my license. As he inspects my ID, then he asks me if I was aware that one of my taillights is broken. I lie and say no, whereupon he lets me off with a warning on condition that I address the issue. Relief pours from me as he steps away. Normally these are always bad. I'm surprised it's going so well. Finsworth has fallen to the shadow. You wouldn't happen to know anything about that, would you? The shadow has a definite foothold in Castle Hill, and it's going to make its move soon. If you have the time to sort this out, you won't go unrewarded. That's behind us, if I recall correctly. We can make it back there, though. But we won't... This place isn't... Oh, Gormouth is held, by the way, by the shadow. I can see the red dot here. Okay. Well, we're going to stop here, guys. Thanks for watching. When we come back, we will win or fail this attempt. If we win, and we've been playing for less than an hour, in order to make this longer than an hour, we will start the next episode. And if we lose, we'll do the same. So I'll see you guys then. Take care, everyone. And thanks for watching.